23rd of September 2023. This is one of that what the fuck moments. And this what the fuck moment is about this thing of to vote or not to vote. Now, for me personally, I believe that it is the responsibility of every citizen of the country to vote. If you have the right to vote, you must vote. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain about the circumstances. And if you don't vote, you are by definition giving that vote of yours to the opposition that wins. And that is the basic reality. There's a lot of people that refuse to vote because they say they cannot support an invalid structure or an illegal system according to their norms. And then there's people that got religious reasons why they don't vote, and all types of excuses not to vote, and explanations, and long fucking tiring tirades about why they don't vote. The fact of the matter is, and I've said it many times, you have to play the cards that is in your hands. Not the cards that's on the table, not the cards that's in the packet in the cupboard, not the cards that's outside in the dustbin. You must play the cards that's in your hands. South Africa went through a transition, and we ended up with a political system that has got one element in it, which is the voting. Now we can have a long talk and debate about how valid that voting is and how pure and reliable it is, but that is not the topic today. The fact of the matter is, we are in a country and we are basically captured by a political system, a system that is recognized internationally. Now there's a portion in this population that is extremely opposed to the regime, to the structure, to everything. Extremely. But they don't vote. They don't vote. The Afrikaner boere, the boere, not the Afrikaners, the boere, the Boer tribe specifically, allowed Afrikaners to hijack the Volksfront, which was a political party representing the boere. That party was hijacked by the Afrikaners and turned into the Freedom Front Plus, and the reality of today is that there's not one single politician in that parliament that stands up and talks for the boere. So the boere is politically voiceless. Voiceless. They've been bitching about it for almost 25 years. But they have not managed to set up a political party that can represent them. I've said it many times. If Putin decides tomorrow, okay, this is a bullshit what's happening to the boere here in South Africa, we better help them and sort them out. And he wants to talk to the boere. Who must he talk to? Which one of that 795 fucking thousand gangs will represent you? A boer. Who? You don't even have a single representative. Or a single representative body. Fuck all like that. So the boere has isolated themselves out of the political system and at the same time made it impossible for any political operator in the world to communicate with them sensibly. But yet, there's pages and pages and pages full of bitching. The HMP is a political party. Now I see they're calling for a gathering sometime later in this month, and they propagate blatantly that the Boer must not vote. Fuck, what is that? So they want to be voiceless. It's like a guy pulling up his zipper and catching his ball bag. Now he stands there in the toilet with his hands in the air and he's screaming like a mad fucking pig. But he doesn't bite on his teeth and fucking rip that zip down. No. Screaming is better. Yeah, I cannot understand this. That mental attitude is impossible for me to really grasp the logics behind it. We have one system here in South Africa. We have to work in that system to reach our goals. To work in that system, you need representation in that system. Without that, you will be nothing and you will forever be a screaming voice in the bush. And I cannot really cope with energy-wasting actions. So, for all of you Boere that is supposed to be interested in self-determination, preservation of our culture, you cannot get anywhere unless you've got a voice in that parliament. One man that can stand up and say, okay, my people is not going to take that shot. My people is not going to wear that cloth. Just one voice needs to stand up and say it there. And then it's on the record for everybody to see. But standing here on a pedestal in the bush, screaming out your frustrations, gonna get you absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. You may have the best intentions in the world, you may have the best team of lawyers in the world, you may have the brightest minds in the world, all of that. If you cannot talk in a platform where people will take note, all of those things means nothing. All it does, it polishes your ego. That's all it do. So, now we're in a situation that there is no political party that really represents the Afrikaner. And a lot of the Boere, and a lot of people ask me, who must I vote for? And then they mention things like at the beer guy and Double Odessa's party. Those people are not Boere. That party is not structured on Boer values. Those parties do not represent Boere. They're just there to get the seats, to get that Moorse salaries. That's all they're there. And you can see it in Parliament. We are being screwed with the petrol price, but the politicians, all of them are quiet. They don't say a word because they get a lot of money. The same happens to everything with the shots. Everybody shut the fuck up when the instructions came from the cabal. The only political party that resisted the snakebite was the ACDP. The ACDP is a small party, and then people say, yeah, but they're a small party. They're small because they don't get enough votes, but at least they're in Parliament. So, if you don't know, the ACDP has got good Christian values as the basis of their party, which is a hell of an important thing for Boere. So there's a party that you can vote for. Because the other alternative party that is available and that makes sense is Inkatha. But that is a problem for a hell of a lot of Boere. Because Inkatha represents the Zulu tribe. ACDP represents Christians. ACDP has got healthy sound, good moral fiber in their plan for the future. So there is a party that you can vote for. I was toying with the HNP thing, and then I got that message this morning and about that thing that they're going to have that gathering in which they are telling the people not to vote. And I thought, fuck that. I don't want any part of that. Those people want to be on the fringe. They want to be the voice of the bush. They don't want to be on the stage and fight for our rights. No. They want to be a screaming minority somewhere in the bush. And you must excuse me if I upset a lot of people today. But if you don't vote, you betray your own people. You're a traitor if you don't vote. That is the reality. Because you don't use the tools available. The only tool available. You don't use it. But yet you complain. People need to start thinking about this. This is a system that we are in. So you must use that system. I cannot understand that people don't see, by staying away and not voting, you're only benefiting the mongrels. That is extremely important to take note of. Vote for the ACDP. Take them from a 1% party to a bloody 30% party. But we still sit with that deep mystery. How many boere is there in South Africa? How many? A mystery. Nobody really knows. And I'm beginning to get an idea. They should scared to go and vote. Because they're scared of the numbers. Because that numbers may indicate that they're actually just a small disgruntled group and not a real force. Which I don't want to believe. Because I know better. But by staying away from the vote, you are allowing the cabal to continue. Unopposed. Unopposed. Think about that. It's like you're sitting there on your veranda, you're having a farm there in the Karoo, a lot of sheep and that, and then you see there's a problem with a gate that is open about 400 meters away from your house. And you decide, hey, that gate, I better go close that gate. And you get up and you realize, but this place is full of thorns. You can't go barefoot. It's going to be hell. But you refuse to put on the shoes that you have there because you don't like the color of the shoes. So because you don't like the color of that fellies, you're going to go and walk barefoot through the thorns. How? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? We must really think about this, and this is for all the decent people. And then I've got a major problem with this potential coalition to get the DA in. Just understand this. If the DA takes control, one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to destroy our relationship with BRICS. And that is long-term suicide. Because they are 100% Triple X puppets. And Triple X is West. The West that has been fucking our country up for such a long time. And that is where the DA will take us. At this point in time, the mere fact that we are part of BRICS and by definition getting access to cheap Russian oil and huge consumer market, 80% of the world population, huge consumer market for our producers, is worth much more than that stinking, fucked up, debt-ridden relationship with the West. Think about that. So there's a real danger in cutting ties with BRICS. A hell of a danger. But the kicker is this. Russia and China are not going to allow the West to take control of the Cape Sea route. So a stupid move, like getting the DA in charge, will most probably pull South Africa into a Ukraine-type war between the East and the West for the sea route. And that is important to take note of. So, think carefully about this. Vote appropriately. Vote wisely. And I'm saying again, at this moment as I'm sitting here talking to you, if you're a decent, conservative, Christian person, the best available is the ACDP. And they have proven their opposition to the clot shot was already unique and a clear indication that they stand on principle. So, in conclusion, if you don't vote, you are betraying your tribe, because you are giving, by definition, the vote to the cabal. Think about that. Please give me a like and subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.